All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. We're going to be seeing for these two Google searches, does it have BSS for each Google search, yes or no? So we're back here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that in the pinned video, pinned post, home video, wherever. That's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. A rise in boudoir photographers, rise in business, probably pulling peeps from the entire intent spectrum here. All the way on the left, the highest intent people, all the way on the right, the lowest intent people. And when a boudoir photography business is falling, they're missing some chunk of people somewhere on this, on this intent spectrum. So here we focus on way on the left, the highest intent people, focusing on BSS. These highest intent peeps are searching for boudoir photo shoots literally in our city right now on social search, social media search, and Google search. And all the way over on the right, the lowest intent peeps, that's our other brand, our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we're talking about BLCS. And currently we only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand per month on boudoir Facebook ads. Lowest intent people, but it's the highest volume of peeps in our city that exist. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots, we're dying a fast death here because that means we're on page 2 or deeper. And we also know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means, dude, approximately 80% of the peeps, literally the bulk of the market, would never even see us if we're on page 2 Google search. So we definitely got to be on page 1, but 1 slot on page 1, that ain't enough. We're looking the same as everyone else. Every other boudoir photographer is going to have 1 slot. And, a buyer is just going to be, clicking everyone on page 1, open them up, contacting them, price shopping, comparing. And, they ain't 80% ain't even going to page 2. So we're really only competing against page 1 peeps over here. So that is boudoir search sameness. Now, 0 out of 1 slots on page 1 on Google is not normal. Extremely common, but it's not normal. To have such few page 1 slots on Google, it's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, most people know about this one. It's where, people get a new iPhone and they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying that they, offer boudoir, throwing up their website, ranking on page 1 on Google. And also if they get new camera, if someone gets new camera posted in the mom Facebook groups that they now offer boudoir photo shoots. So more sellers for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every single seller. So most people know about that. Also big market saturation. When COVID happened, a lot of people lost their jobs, still earned money. And dude, everyone who's got his phone has got a great camera. So a lot became boudoir photographers. Why there's a massive deluge of boudoir photographers in at that time. Next, we got the false belief of page 1 equality. So this, from what I've seen, is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. This is the false belief. So the belief of page 1 equality is, basically every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1. And, that's how the cookie crumbles. And maybe you had 1 slot on page 1, but some more boudoir photographers came into the market and your website got pushed to page 2 on Google. And you're like, that's how it is. It is what it is. But no, that is incorrect. That's not normal. That's the false belief of page 1 equality. What's actually true is Google actually wants to give us and will give us, or wants to give and will give as many page 1 slots as possible to whoever puts in the effort to take them. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 in Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in 10 days utilizing this new methodology we've developed. So false belief of page 1 equality, it's not real. Everyone is accepted as real, everyone is accepted as normal, and it's not. That's completely wrong. So because it's kind of like a brain cage, people don't even see it's possible to break out of it, so they don't even know solutions are out there. But we do have the solution now. And but before that, a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer. I mean, think if we're on page 2, we got 0 slots on page 1, then basically nope, approximately 80% of searches ain't never going to find us. So we're disappearing. If we're one slot on page 1, we look the same as everyone else, being price shopped. We're not standing out. We're not getting any subconscious bonus points. And so disappearing boudoir photographer, this is the canary in a coal mine to a disappearing boudoir photography business. So if we got BSS, we know we're disappearing. We're on the we're going down the wrong path here. That's the signal for us that, hey, we got to turn things around. Luckily, we do have the solution. We have it because we created it. We invented this. It's called the S-cubed methodology, social search saturation. It is doing exactly what it says. We're saturating social search with the highest intent keywords, so it can be found on search on social media. People search those keywords for boudoir photo shoots in their city, and these are kind of like the small rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountain that then flow into the large Amazon River, which would be Google. So these results flow into Google, page 1 of Google, and this is the only solution that I've seen for boudoir photographers that can actually successfully fight back and overcome and still grow a business in the face of market saturation and get results relatively quickly, because the only other solution for that is a strong brand, which takes years, 5 or more years, probably more than a decade to acquire. So S-cubed methodology gets results way faster than that, and it actually accelerates becoming a brand name as well. So, imagine let's say we got a million boudoir photographers. Dallas, Texas, we're one of them. Everyone's got their websites and their boudoir photographer. Find a rank page 1 on Google. But let's say we crank S-cubed methodology up to the max, where we're occupying like the first 300 slots for the highest intent keywords across the 4 major social networks. And as a result, that flows onto Google. We're occupying the first 300 slots on Google for the highest intent keywords as well. Then anytime anyone in Dallas is searching for a boudoir photo shoot, dude, they're basically only going to see us for the first 30 pages, because Google's 10 organic slots per page. So a buyer's basically got to hit page 31 to bring in any or find a bunch of other competing boudoir photographers in Dallas. So we're saturating everywhere: social search, Google search, wherever they look. So who business is growing, even though there's 1 million boudoir photographers in the city? Only ours. And that's because we would have taken S-cubed methodology to the max in the face of extreme market saturation. Now, once BSS is treated with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. Now, a bonus of this is that for every 1 slot we get on Google page 1, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Because we know approximately 80% of boudoir of Google searches never go to page 2. They are page 1 only searches. So it's kind of a bonus effect of us getting way more page 1 slots on Google. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. This is where we have our GBC recommended minimum of, we want to actually hit 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google minimum. And the reason for that is, everyone else is basically going to have 1 slot. So our 3 slots to their 1 slot. First of all, we've kicked out 2 more competitors to be compared against, or maybe even 3 if we had started with 0 slots. And, searchers, buyers subconsciously are going to say, like, why is Google recommending this person 3 different times? I'm going to click into them first and maybe not even look at the other people on page 1. So that's 3 slots versus 1. Very, very rarely someone will have 2 slots. So we'll still be looking at as the better option by having 3 slots over the one that has 2 slots. And boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the twin horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. But finally, thankfully, we have a solution here. S-cubed methodology works way faster than building a brand that takes a decade. And we achieve page one visibility. We become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. So now my results here using S-cubed methodology for myself. I want to rank for the term, see right up here, BLCS boudoir. And so let's go down to the organic slots. So we got slot 1, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So literally, I went from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days utilizing S-cubed methodology for myself. So now back to the meat. I see this boudoir photography business. If these two Google searches, see if they got see if this business has BSS, yes or no for the local search and the city search. All right, here we go. So we're going to organic. Let's see. All right, here we go. Yep, that's one. We got one. So this is the local search, Brentwood, Tennessee. All right, so we got one. We got, let's see. Not that we only got one. We got 1 out of 10 organic slots page 1 on Google. So we definitely have BSS for the local search. Now let's check our city search. Same thing. So now we're looking at Nashville, Tennessee. All right. Man, was that 10? 1, 2. I guess the discussion took up a huge chunk. Dang. Dude, we're at 0 out of 10 on Nashville. So we got boudoir search sameness for both. Or this boudoir photography business has boudoir search sameness for both Google searches. But now we got something that can fix that, S-cubed methodology. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, so you've done the BSS search for local and for city for yourself, and you are you're saying you either got BSS or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google, and you've seen S-cubed methodology, like, wow, that is exactly what I need. That's what I want. That's what I've been waiting for. Kind of solve this, kind of dominate page 1, which honestly is kind of secondary benefit. Kicking our competitors off page 1 is probably the most important thing. Getting them to page 2, where they're invisible to approximately 80% of Google searches. And you're saying, okay, S-cubed methodology, you decide, okay, that can get you there. And the you understand the page, the false belief of page 1 quality is exactly that, a false belief. So you're like, okay, now we can break through kind of mental barrier and see what are the solutions after to take as many page 1 slots on Google, as I want to put in the effort to acquire. And you understand market saturation, basically new gear, new people coming into boudoir, new websites, new people competing on page 1, yeah. But you're also looking ahead, seeing AI is going to take more and more people's jobs. And since everyone's got a smartphone with an awesome camera, it's actually going to force more and more boudoir photographers into the market than potentially ever, just because AI is going to be so widespread. So you're thinking ahead. You like the initial benefits of boudoir, where basically, or at least you like the initial benefits of getting more slots page 1 on Google, kicking out more boudoir photographers off page 1 on Google. And you also like that SQ methodology can actually fortify, your position in the new Boudoir peeps coming into the marketplace. And so you're seeing, okay, SQ methodology can help fortify that position as well, kind of like building up the levees for New Orleans, Louisiana, to keep the ocean out because New Orleans is below sea level. And you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you need those things in order to become #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also thinking ahead to the extended future benefits, which is kind of the more that we execute S cubed correctly every single day, we're building up these kind of invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, attached to our business, attached to our kind of like invisible mindshare for AI mindshare. And that actually increases the probability that we are brought up in this AI overview premium placement. This probability increases every day we run S cubed methodology correctly. And this is a premium placement. And also to increase the probability that AI search recommends this, ChatGPT search and Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini. Because I remember the last time I looked for a boudoir photographer in a city, they only recommended me 3. And I went on Google to look at that city, like actually how many options exist. There's about 60. So I was like, dude, we gotta figure out a way to get on here. So you're also seeing S cubed methodology is the best way to get that done. And you're also seeing, since we be on all these social platforms, dominating the social search, we can create a brand much faster, which is really just kind of like momentum mindshare. And you're also seeing that you decide to be a first mover advantage and be the first one in your city to utilize SQ methodology because my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer for your city. So that enables you to kind of box out all your competitors from using this. So you're saying you can get super ahead with all these slides, page one on Google, all this momentum of, basically all this momentum of kind of this invisible thematic keyword column mindshare, and really put a large amount of distance between yourself and all your competitors. And conversely, if one of your competitors works with me instead, you understand you'd have to go and rederive or derive for the first time SQ methodology. And then you'd have to then go execute it at the same rate as me and your competitor each day. And you probably wouldn't feel comfortable putting that much time in because you'd never be 100% confident that you've even derived it or rederived it correctly in the first place. And then at that point, even if you equal our effort, our output, you would simply be maintaining the gap we've already built between you. You have to actually double or triple our output to kind of close that gap and gain on us and kind of pull back this thematic keyword, invisible thematic keyword columns from kind of AI mindshare we're acquiring. You'd have to pull that momentum away from us. And like, dude, who's got 80 hours a day to do all this? Who's got 80 hours a day? Nobody. So you've decided, screw that. You've already decided you're gonna be the first one to actually, the first one in your city to utilize this. So you can get all these initial benefits and future benefits. So that's you. Shoot me a DM. The hospital is currently closed, but if you actually, when I do open DMs for new patient intake, shoot me a DM then, and we'll see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.